Let's just start out with this. What the heck was that last night in the ninth inning? Davey Martinez cut a promo in last night's press conference. So guess what? It's my turn now.
You are Locked On Nationals, your daily Washington Nationals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. A championship team is about each player being a perfect fit. Same with your vehicle. So for parts that fit, head to eBay Motors and look for the green check. Stay in the game with eBay Guaranteed Fit. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. eBay Guaranteed Fit. Only available to U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions do apply. And if it's your first time as a listener to Locked On Nationals here, I'm Ryan Clary, the host of this podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where you get your team every day. And all the everydayers out there, you already know who I am. So thank you guys for coming back once again. Later on in the show, it's a Mackenzie Gore day. We're going to have some positive vibes going into Game 3 against the Astros. Can they avoid the sweep? Can Mackenzie Gore bounce back from a little bit of a rougher patch that he's had over the last few starts he's made? We're going to discuss that. Then later on, Victor Robles will be coming off this injured list any moment. And so what does that mean? Stone Garrett or Alex Call, one of the two, will be going down to AAA Rochester. I'm going to tell you why I truly believe who should get that fourth outfield spot in that second segment. But we start with last night's loss. We saw Davey Martinez and what he did. I'm assuming that you have seen the clip of Davey Martinez with a legendary post-game press conference as he pulled out the receipts, literally, not figuratively, literally, brought out the receipts, showed the piece of paper that had the picture of Myers running on the grass to show that he was, in fact, out of the baseline. Let me catch you up if you didn't catch last night's game. In that ninth inning, the Nationals did tie it up 4-4. And then, you may ask, the bullpen had to come in. And when the bullpen comes in, it's never a good sign. Jake Myers, he was running down the base path, and if you remember 2019 Game 6 of the World Series, Trey Turner had this exact same moment on him. He was called out for running out of the base path. Well, last night, the same exact scenario happened. A ground ball to C.J. Abrams. He throws home. Keibert Ruiz, with kind of a poor throw, let's be honest, over to first base. It hits Myers. It knocks the glove off Chavez. Game-winning run scores. Game over. No replay. No nothing. That call cannot happen. Davey Martinez went ballistic in his post-game presser, and I'm here for it. I talked about this with Davey Martinez. I want to see him with a little bit more emotion. Cut some promos. Do your thing. Get some energy in this ball club. But when you get pounded by the umps on the same damn play that almost costed you the World Series trophy in 2019 in the same stadium, in basically the same exact scenario, you deserve that. Davey Martinez goes into that post-game presser and cuts his promo as he should. But for those who may have missed the play, let me get back to it. Because Jake Myers was running in the same direction as Trey Turner in the Game 6 of the World Series. That was called in that stadium. The same time, the same everything. And it was called against the Nationals in that scenario in the World Series. Fast forward to last night, the Nationals get tied up at 4-4 going into the bottom of the ninth. Bases loaded jam. C.J. Abrams gets the force out at home for the second out. Keibert Ruiz throws it down the line. And guess who's there? Myers in the middle of the grass. 2 feet in on the grass. But then also, you could even make a different argument for obstruction for what he did running to first base. But no, the Nationals did not get that. And Davey's main issue was not the bang-bang play, as I said. as the ball got there, it was going to be a pretty close play, let's be honest. But that wasn't the main issue. It's the fact that Myers was running in the grass. And you may ask, how and what happened? How could you not call this play? How could you not call this obstruction? He was clearly out of the base path. It's the fact that he was running in the grass. The grass. It's the year of 2023. Let's be honest. We have this weird thing called cameras that can catch everything on film. Everything. And the best thing is you can replay that on something called a TV or a video monitor. The MLB has challenges for a reason. This is my main issue. You have challenges for a reason, and it's to use them. But somehow, some way, that play is not reviewable. What are we doing? With Major League Baseball and what they have done, with Rob Manfred really stepping up to the plate and hitting a home run with these new rules. Let's call it as it is. He has done a terrific job over the last year growing this game. But with a play like that yesterday, the game on the line, you are not able to challenge that play. For what reason? Because it's an opinion call? Is that really what the issue is? You can't make a jurisdiction off an opinion call because the ump didn't see it right then and there? Because if you were to look at that replay, it is more clearly that he is way out of the base path, and that runner should have been called out. The inning should have been over. We should have been going to extra innings. So beyond all the issues with, was it a rule? Was it a dumb violation of the rule? Yes, it was. But is the rule dumb? It is a stupid rule. That rule should not be in there because I said that back in 2019 when that happened to Trey Turner. I'm going to stay consistent now and say it's still a dumb rule. It shouldn't be in existence. But the matter of the fact is that it is a rule. So use it. Implement it. Don't just screw over the Washington Nationals for it, because this is now not once, but twice this has happened. In the same ballpark, the same baseline, the same everything. And while there isn't a World Series trophy on the line, it's still bad nonetheless. Because again, I think the rule is dumb. I think it's a stupid one. I can't say it enough. But still, just because you didn't think that, in your opinion, that it was an obstructed base path, what are we doing? What is the point of having that little base lane there over on first base if you can't stay in it? And when you don't stay in it and it obstructs with the play, what are we doing not calling it? But my main issue is, there's three issues. One, this shouldn't be a rule. Two, you crossed the boundary, you broke the law in Major League Baseball, and nothing came from it. And then three, the most important one, was that you can't challenge this. In what way is that possible? You have to give that out to the Washington Nationals there if you were able to challenge it. And Major League Baseball and Manfred have done an amazing job with growing this sport and using the simple things and say, yeah, we should probably do this. Yeah, this makes sense. Let's start with cutting out the sticky stuff. But what about this? A game on the line, a win on the line for a team that so desperately needs wins. Going up against the Houston Astros, a team that cheated. And you can't make up that call. You can't go to replay and get that call right. That is where I have the issue with. Make that play reviewable and get the call right. In fact, any last out or walk-off scenario should be reviewable. You may ask, why? Why? Get the call right. Get the call right. I can't say this enough. Get the call right. That should be the priority going forward for every Major League Baseball umpire. Get the call right. And this is not only just an umpire issue as well, because they botched this, completely botched this. Major League Baseball, you, Rob Manfred, you get this play reviewable. Any last out in any situation, if it's just a dinker fly ball to left field, review it. If it's a simple ground ball thrown to first base and he's out by a mile, review it. If it's a home run that went 780 feet, review it. Review everything. Challenge everything. Why can't you do this? We have all these capabilities to where we can avoid these stupid things. But not with this one. We can't review this, supposedly. Because Major League Baseball does not care about the Washington Nationals. Does not. It's evident. They don't care. What are we doing? What are we doing? That's all I got. It's all I got. I want to quit. I'm done. That last night was unacceptable from all sides of the conversation. Unacceptable, and there are fixes to this. Make that play reviewable. End this charade immediately. Call for a meeting with the players' union and make everything reviewable. 2 times. 2 times. The Nationals didn't get lucky like they did back in 2019 and have Anthony Rendon come and save the day. Nuh-uh. Not this time around. Not this team. No. They got screwed over out of a win, or they should have been attempted to have a win in that scenario. Major League Baseball, do bleeping better. So thank you guys for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. And of course, the Nationals do play again against the Astros tonight as Mackenzie Gore takes the mound. It's going to be a fun game. Hopefully, the umpires don't get in the way of this one. Catch every pitch of the Nats hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just search Nationals. Before we get into talking about the 4th outfielder spot, I'm going to tell you guys about our friends over at Bird Dogs. And guys, Bird Dogs, they make you look so good. Bird Dogs have stretch khaki shorts and are designed to fit slimmer through the thigh and leg, giving you a truly sculpted look. Bird Dogs shorts do the exact same thing as Lululemon, but fit way better. They fit way better than regular shorts that are made off a stiff, restricting cotton. Trust me, I got my Bird Dogs, and I love them every day. I got some tree trunks for legs, but they make my legs look slim and fit, and that is the positivity side of Bird Dogs. Go to birddogs.com/lockedonmlb for a free Yeti-style tumbler with your order. That's birddogs.com/lockedonmlb for a free Yeti-style tumbler. You won't want to take your Bird Dogs off. I can promise you that. And now let's get back into discussing this Washington Nationals, as Victor Robles is on the cusp of getting called back up to the major league roster. He'll be taking his everyday center field spot. He'll be in the lineup every single day. And honestly, Victor Robles got off to a really hot start this year. He was one of the better hitters of that Nationals, really the entire lineup over that first month of April. It was a fun little time for Victor Robles. Probably one of the hottest stretches of his career since 2019, if not the hottest portion of his career. He switched up a little bit of things, but it's not about Victor Robles right now, because you've had 2 outfielders with Alex Call and Stone Garrett who either or, who's going to be sent down? Who's going to be optioned from this deal? And if it was up to me, manager Ryan Clary, it's not even a discussion. It really isn't. But I will say it's a little bit closer than some people may think. I'm going to be optioning Alex Call. I'm going to be sticking Stone Garrett in that fourth outfielder spot, and here's why. What have we been preaching? What have I been preaching all year? Slugging, hard hit, making your own runs. Weighted runs created plus. Stone Garrett does this. Stone Garrett has probably the best raw power on this Nationals team by far and away. Not only is the guy just a stud, if we're just being honest here, He hits the ball hard, and when he makes contact, it does damage. And while Stone Garrett hasn't really done the home run production as we've wanted to see, because he's only has 3 home runs so far in about 110 at-bats this season. But Stone Garrett provides that little extra oomph that we need this year. He's got a 726 OPS on the season, a 275 batting average, but even then, let's look between that. Every time he goes up there, he does strike out a decent amount, doesn't really walk too much. But when you see him and what he does, he provides damage. And that is what this Nationals team has done so far. Alex Call, on the other hand, while when he was in that leadoff spot to begin May, he was doing really well. I liked what he provided in that month. And really, since that Colorado Rockies series, I really liked the production that Alex Call was getting. But since then, he's kind of fallen back to earth. He's been really slow lately. His fielding, as we saw over the Braves series, was electric. But that's also not just it. What does this Nationals team lack more? Defensive struggles? Or is it slugging numbers? Or is it power? To me, it's power, and it's slugging and extra base hits and manufacturing your own runs. That's what this team lacks way more than the defensive side of things. While the defense hasn't been stellar, it's been a lot better since last year. No doubt about that. Dominic Smith, Victor Robles, all these different guys, Lane Thomas, they've played a key role into that this year, and also Luis Garcia over at second base. But when looking at the struggles of this team, you talk about the bullpen. Obviously, the bullpen has been really bad so far. But then on the other hand, you look at the slugging, all the metrics that go with that, extra base hits. This Nationals team can put singles together like no one's business. But when you have a lack of power in your lineup, that's when you don't see the runs come across the board. You have to have home run hitters and slugging hitters in today's game in 2023. No doubt about it. You have to. Look at the Cleveland Guardians right now with all the talent that they have. Last year's run in the playoffs. And look at them now. They have no offense. They have no hitting or slugging or home runs. They're doing nothing. And that is why they've struggled so much in this 2023 year. Look at the Washington Nationals, except this is a very different story than the Guardians. This Nationals team has better offensive production than that Guardians roster. We just don't have the pitching that they do. But the thing with this Nationals team is that we have to prioritize slugging at this moment. You have to put that as priority number one, because that is the way that the Nationals will need to start learning how to win games. You're going to need to start hitting more home runs. You're going to have more extra base hits, and you're going to have more power. And what comes with more power is more runs. You need to play for the long ball. And that is what Stone Garrett has done for this Nationals team. He's provided that little spark when he does play. Because while most of the time Alex Call has kind of been manning that outfield spot in center field, and it's because of the defensive effect of Alex Call. And that is something you can't just look past and ignore, because I do like a better defensive outfield, especially with a young pitching rotation. But it's beyond that. The greater issue is the slugging, the extra base hits, and the home runs. That's what we have to prioritize when considering who do you want as your fourth outfielder. Because this Nationals team, the defensive metrics are fine. It's not amazing. They're fine. They're good. But the slugging, the lack of effort, the lack of home runs, not effort, has been poor. If not poor, bad. So that is what Davey Martinez and the decision makers will have to value going into this. You have to have Stone Garrett on this roster. And honestly, I do think it's a little bit of a closer decision than what people think, considering that Alex Call does have this weird, effective strike ball scenario to where he is such a tough out. And that just doesn't mean as much as having a power bat like a Stone Garrett. Simple as that. But Alex Call is better defensively. I do believe he's a tougher out than Stone Garrett. But at the end of the day, you have to go with the power bat in this situation. because the Nationals haven't been getting the power from the right side of the plate this year. And Stone Garrett does provide that, especially in pinch hitting scenarios in the 9th inning, where you could have him come in the game in a 4-3 ball game and maybe he hits one out. It's the wish of luck of baseball, man. And you have to play with those power numbers in 2023. You guys can catch the Nats playing the Astros tonight at 8:10 as Mackenzie Gore is on the mound, and that is why we're about to catch up on Mackenzie Gore. But you can catch every pitch of the Nats hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just search Nationals. We're going to discuss Mackenzie Gore's start up against the Houston Astros tonight, right after this. It's a Mackenzie Gore day, one of our favorite days of this calendar month, and really any day when you get to watch Mackenzie Gore, it is a treat. But here's the thing. It's been a little bit of a tougher go for it for the young lefty. You may ask, why do you say that? Mackenzie Gore is fine, and yes, he is fine. No one should be concerned about our southpaw here. Mackenzie Gore has been electric all season long, and we know what the issue is. It's the lack of control and command of the zone. We've seen a lot of walks, a lot of unnecessary walks, even in times where he gets ahead in the count 1-2, throws a few bad pitches, and all of a sudden you're walking the guy over to first base. That's not what we want to see. That's not what we have to see from Mackenzie Gore. But when you go up against, again, one of the Astros' better pitchers with Christian Javier, and while he hasn't been his dominant self as he was last year, he's still been pretty damn good. 74 strikeouts in 74 innings pitched, has a 106 whip. This guy's not going to give you a ton there. The Nationals will have to take advantage of a right-handed pitcher with bats like a Luis Garcia, like a CJ Abrams. The lefty-righty situation for tonight's game is as it was in last night's game with their lefty, Framber Valdez. This Nationals team, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for Mackenzie Gore, especially going up against an Alex Bregman and Jose Altuve. Mackenzie Gore is still a young pitcher, 24 years old. Going into it, this is really his first full season in the major leagues. Even though he started off on that opening day roster last year for the Padres, didn't really stay healthy the full year. Got traded to the Nationals, never pitched with us once up in the major leagues, not even in the minor leagues even. So this season, what this is about is getting your feet wet. This is going to be Mackenzie Gore's toughest start probably of this young season. He's gone up against the Braves multiple times. The Braves have taken advantage of him one time. But after that rough start this last time, his ERA rose to in the 4s, which is not ideal, obviously. But going up against this Astros team with someone like Altuve and Bregman, and while those guys haven't really been killing it the way that they have been over their course of their career, it's still a little concerning because young pitchers like a Mackenzie Gore, you can make mistakes, and you usually do more often. So going up against a veteran-filled roster like this Astros team, and then you also have a Jose Abreu who, as we saw last night, while his numbers haven't been great and while his slugging and his home runs haven't been on par with what he's done throughout his career, the guy can still do damage, as we saw again last night. So Mackenzie Gore, it's not going to be an easy one. But still, it's Mackenzie Gore day. After last night's complete fiasco, let's turn the page. Let's get a win. Because I think Davey Martinez and what he did last night, providing a little energy and a little spark in these guys, a chip on their shoulder, if you will. I think that's going to fare well for this Nationals team. Because a lot of people don't really think about this. But the energy of last night's Davey thing, I guarantee you he's going to have a picture of that up in the clubhouse or something wacky like that. Have a little extra motivation. You got one of your aces on the mound tonight, going up against the Houston Astros. They got everything to lose. We got nothing to lose this year. Go out there, be scrappy, and beat the Houston Astros. And Angel Hernandez, I want you back in Major League Baseball after watching that show of a umpire performance last night. So thank you guys for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. And Nats play the Astros tonight at 8:10 Eastern time. Catch every pitch of the Nats hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just search Nationals. I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Sorry for the screaming. I'm sorry for the yelling, but it had to be said. Last night's umpire performance was truly unacceptable. Unacceptable. Major League Baseball, do better. I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Until all the everydayers out there, let me know if you like today's episode. Thank you guys. I'll catch you on the flip side.